Okay, now we're gonna tear this puppy apart. You have 2 pins right here. Here and here. You're gonna need to remove those pins. Pull them out. You got the bolt back. You need to make sure the bolt's forward. Bolt's forward. Fire it. Obviously make sure there is no ammunition anywhere near you when you start doing this procedure. Push this pin. Push this pin. It'll pop just right lightly. Go to this side. Fingers under. Fingers under. Comes apart. Real easy. Each piece individually needs cleaned. These are not, you don't need to constantly clean them every month kind of a thing. They can run dirty. They're built for that purpose. I'm a clean freak. I like to, every time I shoot it, I clean it. All right, pull the bolt back. I just clean it so it's oily as all get out. And this all comes out, okay? So here's your other half of your rifle. This is the bolt carrier group. This is your action. Okay. It does not stink. It smells great. It smells like freedom. Yeah, that was corny. Okay. So now with this, to clean this, if you just shoot it every once in a while, you know, 100 rounds or whatever, and just, you don't have to necessarily tear this apart. I do, just because, like I said, I'm a clean freak. He's a nerd. Nice. This cotter pin here is what helps you take the bolt carrier group apart. You just got to get in there with your fingernail or little tiny tweezers or whatever. Pop this out. Don't lose that. You lose that, you got a problem. Okay. There goes your firing pin. It came out of here. Okay. So just see how it works.
Popped it back in, right?
Like that. Twink. So it sits right in here. Once you pull that cotter pin out, you just get it to pop right out. This turns. This little square thing here. It'll turn. Take it out. Then you take this out. So you don't want to lose any of these parts. There's plenty of videos online showing you how to do this. If mine is junk, whatever. Thanks is great vote of confidence. Anyway, you've got this. It's all nice and clean, mostly. There's always pretty much going to be residual grit and grime, but...
Or when you try to clean a gun and your daughter won't leave you alone.
Yeah, that too. So that's it. It's completely torn apart. You want to clean everything you can see. You want to use a good lubricant, a good solvent. There's thousands of them out there. Use whatever you want. I have a kit. You want to definitely get a kit of some sort for...
Lots of money right there.
It wasn't that expensive. But this covers it. That is overkill for you, more than likely. That has probably about 20 different brushes and all kinds of stuff in it.
Lots of money.
You definitely want one of these. Okay? It's a bore snake for 223, 556. Virtually the same count. Brown, doesn't matter. See, 22, 223, it's the same thing. Anyway. Get one of these. It makes cleaning this barrel 1,000 times easier. Actually, more like 1,000,000 times easier. Yes, it's funny easy. Anyway, get in there with, like, I use medical Q-tips, stuff like that to get into the nooks and crannies and clean it up as best you can. Get some good solvents in there, let it soak a little bit and scrape out what you can. Just, it doesn't have to be pristine, but you want to get it as best you can. Get all the heavy gunk out. You will notice over time on this, right around this lip, you'll get a lot of carbon buildup. It'll actually start caking on. They make tools to remove it, but yeah, it's a baby. They make tools that'll remove it. you can use a razor blade or a pocket knife, just don't slice yourself open and just scrape it off. You won't do any damage to this. It's a hardened steel. It's not going to affect it. Now, after you've cleaned everything, again, here's this part too. You want to get in here. You want to clean up. This won't be as dirty because there's not a lot of residue that gets into this. But you want to clean it a bit and just lightly oil it. You don't want it to be dripping off of oil. You know, you just want it coated so obviously it doesn't rust or oxidize, and you don't have issues with, you know, if it's too wet, you'll get dust issues and you can have a jam up on you. Or if it's too dry, obviously metal on metal, not good. So once you've got those oiled and greased up a little bit, let's put her back together. First step is basically do exactly the opposite thing. Put this in. All right. Maybe. There we go. There's the hole on the inside where this goes through here, goes into here. Now, one side's a little bit bigger than the other. So you just got to make sure you find the right spot. Put this in. Turn it. Take your bolt, or your firing pin. Shut up. Point first. Push it in. Cottering pin. Push it in. Now, sometimes it gets temperamental and it doesn't want to go in right away. Did this to me last night too. There we go. Now it goes in. Just make sure it's pushed all the way in. Now, when you have issues like that, which it happens, it is what it is. You want to test to make sure obviously the firing pin and this system is working properly. Just throw it like you're gonna fishing rod or whatever, and just pop it back in. Make sure it comes out and goes back in. Okay, it does that, you're good. Now you take this. Again, I do a really light oil just because it's metal on metal. I don't like those two pushing together. You'll see two fins right here and here. Inside here, you just find where that sits. It goes in a little bit, and then just push it forward just enough so it sits right. So it sits in there. Take this, pull that out. This little gas port sits in here. Slide them in. I'll go in like this, and then you just click. You're done. It's back together. Then take this back on. Line them up. Push the pins back in. She's back together. Then you just got a function check. Function checking. Just make sure that works. Safety and fire still works. Again, make sure it's empty. You don't want any ammo with you when you do this. And pull the trigger. Pull it back, pull the trigger. There's another thing you can do that you should learn is when you have this, you pull it back and you've got your finger on the trigger. If you hold the trigger back, as you let this out, just 1 second.
Okay.
Now we'll be with you in 1 second, sweet pea.
I'll kiss it in a second.
Now, when you let this out, just listen. Click. Okay? That's called a trigger reset. Every weapon has one. That's just for your own knowledge and for accuracy and ability to shoot, so you're not taking your finger off the trigger every single time you shoot. But that just means you're right there to fire again. Side notes. Next thing is, just as another thing, you have, what's nice, is you have a nice little storage container in here. What I was actually going to be doing, and just haven't gotten around to it, is you get an extra battery or two, for your flashlight and for your aim point. This is an Aim Point Pro. You get the extra battery, 1 or 2 for these, and you wrap it in like toilet paper or something like that and shove it up in here. A, so it doesn't rattle around. B, so it doesn't make contact with each other and, you know, waste the battery life. And C, gives you extra batteries. Now, I can get this thing back on. Be helpful if I did it right. Okay, now, this is the battery port here. Oh, that's tight. The batteries last. I've had this rifle or this optic for 4 years now, something like that, almost 4 years. And I've only replaced the battery once. This is a 3R, what is it? 3R, ER1310, no, sorry, CR1/3N lithium cell. That's what it looks like, size-wise. Easy peasy. It's my favorite word of the day. Shut up, Jess. Back in. This stupid song is gonna be in my head for the next month.
Joys of kids YouTube.
So, my hands are oily now. I can't grip anything. So that's your aim point. Very sturdy optic. One of the better ones out there. I mean, personal preference, whether somebody wants aim point or EOTech. Trijicon is also obviously very, very good, but it's very expensive. To me, it's not worth the price. Your weapon light just screws on here. You don't have to crank it down. It's sturdy enough. It just clips onto these MOE mounts. To get to the battery on this, you have to take it off, flick that up, then it rocks forward like this. Okay, it's a ultra-last lithium battery, so that's standard. I would, this is what came with it. I would stay away from rechargeables. A, because they definitely don't last as long, and it's just really not, I don't like them. Another nation heard from. Close it up. Just simply rock it in. I'll make it say simply, and it's giving me headaches. Rock it in, lock that back down, put it here, and tighten the screw. Now, I have, it's whatever you prefer. Again, it's a personal preference thing. You can take this light and put it over here if you wanted to. So you can sit there and you can activate it with your thumb. Here, it's kind of like a little awkward to get to. But
It's awkward, so it's okay.
nice. It just sits in the case a little bit easier like this. So that's just my own laziness. But you could switch it to whatever side you want. Like I said, it's only finger tight, so you just unscrew it. The pistol grip here, the foregrip, that is for a sling if you want to get a sling. I'm keeping my sling just because I need one for work. But you just attach here and here or under here. I do a single point sling, so I only need this one point. And then it just goes over your shoulder. But slings are a dime a dozen. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them for whatever. It's easy. This pistol grip here, the front grip, that's again, this is a personal preference of where you want it or if you even want it. You can move it forward or back. You need a just a regular screwdriver. It comes right off. slide it. There's a little notch right in the middle of this that you just get it in between here to whatever position you want. That'll allow you to move it forward or back a little bit. I have it as back as I can make it here by where I put these. All this stuff is extremely customizable. That's why I kind of like it over the concept of an AK. AKs are, to me, like a dime a dozen. You know, it's a novelty thing. It's a great rifle, yes, but practicality, not even remotely practical. You can tell Jeff I said that too. The foregrip here, you pull this back, you're probably going to want somebody to help you with it if you ever want to take this off to replace it with something different, just because this one's actually a pain in the butt to do. They make a specific tool to help you do this by yourself, but you just have to pull this ring back, and then these pieces kind of like spread out. I'm not going to try to do it because when I first did it, it took me probably an hour and a half to get the old one off and this one to sit right. It was a headache. Never do that again. Outside of that, that's your rifle. That's pretty much the basic gist of it. If you have any other questions, let me know. It is sighted in, so you don't have to worry about doing that. It's accurate out to probably 300 yards if you really wanted to tempt fate and test it. With the red dot, again, it's point of aim, point of impact. Wherever that dot sits, that's where that round's going to hit. I would suggest not getting closer than 15 yards to whatever you're shooting at, just because you are firing a higher power right round, so you don't want to have any back spray or frangible pieces coming back at you. I've had that happen and it tickles a little bit. Now, there's a thing called, and this is getting into a little more in depth with the rifle and its ballistics. This is a free floating barrel. The barrel and how it is set up, obviously the closer you get, these 2 points do not meet. Your red dot is sitting 2-3 inches above the barrel. So what happens is the closer you get, the more this red dot and even the optics or the iron sights do not match what's coming out of this barrel. So if you do get within 15 yards of using this, it's called height over bore. You have to aim probably, if you want to shoot it, if you wanted to shoot at, say, this center of this coffee cup, you're going to need to aim with the red dot right about here to bring that round into this, just because of the difference between the gap or the difference, the height of the sights and your barrel. But again, that's into ballistics and functionality. But I don't think, yeah, I could go on for a long time about that, and my phone will die before that happens. But yeah, magazine release again. Hey, good. It's a trigger. Fire safe. Sights, they come up and down like that. You just flick it all the way up, all the way down, whichever. These are replaceable, but if you do replace these sights with something else, you can kind of, as long as you don't take this off, like if you want to replace these, bring this up, make sure your sight picture's there, okay, like you're sighted in, you got the little snow cone on top of here, all right, then don't remove this, and if you remove this and put a new one on, mag pull part, whatever, you're gonna have to re-sight in this rifle, which is a long process, not necessarily difficult, just you're going to go through a lot of ammunition trial and error. So if you left this on, you could probably bring this iron sight up, co-witness it, kind of get those 2 points in line with each other, and then you'll at least kind of be on the board instead of having to take this, that's an old cut, take this sight and move it all, because if you're going to re-sight this in, you're going to have to take this piece here and turn all the way to one side. Then count every single click till you get to the exact opposite side. Then you're going to have to cut that in half back into the middle. That's why it takes a very long time to sight these in. Right out of the, usually out of the shops, they're sighted in. But it happens. You know, you can, somebody plays with it in a shop or whatever the case may be, and they ended up throwing off your sights, and now you got to redo your sights. It's a headache. But if that ever comes up, just let me know. I'll help you out with it. No big deal. But yeah, there's your baby. I'm giving you, these are the 2 magazines that came with it. 30 round to 20 round. There's nothing wrong with these magazines. They're standard AR-15, M16 magazines. That's my badge number. Don't worry about it. But the problem with these are, because they're metal and have this aluminum, these points here will bend, and then it may give you feed issues where it doesn't feed properly. Then you have malfunctions. I'm giving you these 2 as well. These are PMags. They are a polymer magazine, very, very high quality. These are Magpul, pretty much the best out there. I've never had one of these fail. Our department has never had one of these fail. Knock on wood, yes, thank you. They're just very simple and they look cool. You'll see magazines that have a port window in them that'll show you, oh, here's your round count. Ignore that, because it doesn't even work. It's not even accurate. We've got a whole bunch of them, and they're a joke. Now, I think that's about it. I'm gonna give you this. It'll get you started. Have a little bit of fun. Just make sure these are separate from everything else. That's the kind of ammunition you're gonna use. Either 5.56, you can use 2.23. Okay, if the rifle states 5.56, it is capable of shooting 2.23. If the rifle does not state 5.56 and it says this is a 2.23 caliber, it will not fire 5.56. That could cause problems with the rifle. You don't want to deal with that. But that's pretty much it for this. I don't know if you've had much experience with malfunctions with a weapons, with any of your guns or anything like that before. Rule 1: don't panic. Happens. You get a squib round or failure to feed or double feed, whatever the case may be. Put the weapon on. You get a double feed. Okay. So you're shooting, it goes bang and click. You've got nothing. Step 1, throw the sucker on safe. Okay? Finger up, get your booger hook off of this. Set up, look, okay, there's nothing here. Now, magazine release, get the magazine out. Charging handle, pull that back. And just keep going like that until everything falls out of it. There ain't nothing left in there. Nothing in there, pull it back, look, make sure it's cleared. All right, take the magazine, make sure the bullets that are in the magazine aren't all banged up, dented. If it's dented, kick the bullet out. You don't need it, you do not want to shoot it. Back in. And you're good to go. Now I lock back because obviously there's no ammunition in here, so it's not gonna, let me slam it forward on its own. So, or hey, you're back open here, fat man on this side, boom, you're in. Finger along the slide, don't put your finger on this trigger until you're ready to shoot something. All right? I would not suggest using a squirrel as a target practice. It will not end well for the squirrel. So, or anything beyond the squirrel in the next mile. Again, basic safety. I think if you have any other questions, just let me know. I've got it covered and I'll help you out. Peace out, bud.